Doris, your darling bus episode, lucky number 13. G'day folks and welcome to another episode of Doris, your darling bus, a fortnightly podcast about that unsung hero of the music industry, the tour bus. Today's guest is an old mate of mine. Surprise, surprise, he's a super talented blues singer, songwriter and guitarist. And in the last decade I've watched him go from touring and living in an old Kombi van to jet-setting all around Australia and now internationally. We caught up briefly before his gig in Brisbane a few weeks ago. Here's my little chat with Shaun Kirk. Shaun Kirk, thank you so much for joining me on Doris, your darling bus.
Thanks for having me, mate.
So, we're coming up to the end of the year.
True.
Busy year of touring for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Released, where are we? October. What has this year been so far? Released a single late last year called Save My Soul. I released two singles last year, Howlin' at the Moon, Save My Soul. And that kind of saw me touring like a crazy man all year. And then started this year off with a house concert tour, which just went nuts and kept me busy pretty much from January. Originally, we were just going to do the tour from January till March and went all the way through till May. So that was really cool. And then released the new record just a couple of months ago and have been touring that across Oz and New Zealand ever since. So,
excellent. Well, speaking of living rooms and playing in living rooms, a terrible segue. First time I got to know you, you were touring around in a van, a big orange Kombi van, that you were sort of living on the road out of the van.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about your Kombi.
The Kombi. What to say about the Kombi? Like when did I buy that? I must have been about 22, I think. I released a record in 2010, which was kind of the first one that I really started, promoting across the country and stuff like that. And bought this Kombi van. When I first bought it, it was a banged up, kind of like creamy white Kombi, and it had a pop top roof. Had the motor had been changed over to a Subaru motor. I don't know any specifics, but it was a Subaru motor. I know that much, and that was part of the sale, the pitch kind of thing, and it was on gas. And me being the 22-year-old that I was, thought great idea would be to, and my brother was working in a spray factory at the time. He was actually spraying semi-trailers.
Right.
And so, it was meant to be. Yeah. Took that thing and found the most fluoro, disgusting orange that you've ever seen in your life. That just hurts your eyes when you when it's driving past you. You got to put sunglasses on because that shit's so bright. And chucked that. It just, worked with my brother to spray paint it, helped him sand it back. I did the worst sanding job ever because I just hated it. Just wanted it to be orange, God damn it. And so, we must have spent, a week or two doing that. After he kind of finished at work, I'd meet him and, and it was bright orange with the most clean white pop top on top. So it kind of looked like the Scooby-Doo mobile.
Yeah.
And and then, because the sanding job was so half-assed on my behalf, there was, you'd find the parts where I was sanding because the paint was peeling off. So, that was the Kombi. And it had I put a King single in the back. And crammed all my gear in around it. It had the world's it must have been the most uneconomical oil leak you've ever experienced in your life. I literally had to pull over every 5 hours and replace the oil.
Yeah, right.
And if I didn't, it would be smoking. You'd open the oil cap and it would be smoking. So I just knew like every 5 hours, pull over, replace the oil. Like,
Yeah. It just became part of your...
It was so uneconomical, like that thing. Like, but man, it was good fun. It was.
How long did you hang on to it for?
I must have had it 2010 till 2000 and maybe 2015 or 14, I reckon. Mm. So 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I think I went through 3 motors in it. I definitely went through 2. Mm-hmm. I think there was a third. I can't remember if there was a third or not, but yeah, it was.
So you were just not letting go.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking economically. Like, I just wanted a Kombi van, I think, and it just looking back now, I just go, you're an idiot. Like, you spent so much money on that thing. Like, was it really worth it? It was. It kind of was. Like,
so at what point did it stop being worth it? At what point did you go, all right,
I think the third motor, like, yeah, it would have been, maybe it was 2. Anyway, like, when I sold it, it no longer worked. Like, I sold just the body, pretty much. Oh, and then the gas tank, man. Holy crap. That thing would just let off the loudest bangs you've ever heard in your life. Like, it was like a shotgun just going off in your ear. Like, and because where it sat, it didn't sit like, I mean, the motor's right out the back. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty noisy as well in that thing because it's kind of like clattering. Yeah. And then the gas tank was kind of like further towards the driver's seat. It was like in the middle. And like you'd just be driving and I think it's like a pressure thing and it would just bang, just out of like you could not pick it. It scared the shit out of it. Like I don't know how it didn't crash sometimes. It was that loud. Like your ears would ring afterwards. Like it was it was a deafening like just bang out of nowhere. Like scare the shit out.
This would keep you awake on those longer drives.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But you'd be like anticipating it.
Yeah, that was it. You did. Like I used to drive along and just be like waiting for it and just like it's like driving in fear, like constantly.
Oh man.
But yeah, it was it's good. It used to gather a lot of. It used to attract a lot of huntsmen. Like the huntsmen used to love the pop top. Like, so it was something about something about I think because I mean there was holes. Oh, that was the other. Yeah, that's all coming back to me now. So it was something about like I think the material that pop top's made out of, and like it was kind of damp, but it would have been warm in summer, I guess, and dark. So they'd like hide in there, and so I'd pop it up at night and bang, there's a massive huntsman like looking at me, and I'd usually just let them like just stay in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was also this leak, literally right where my pillow was, like and so yeah. There'd be nights where, and back then I used to just like kind of stay at caravan parks and stuff like that. And there'd be nights where I'd literally wake up and just there'd be this puddle like on my face because it's pissing down outside. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to like, I just had to like kind of just move aside a bit and just deal with the damp shittiness of the situation.
Just make it work.
Yeah.
I'd like to share my favourite story of your Kombi van.
Yeah.
I won't name names, but we're at a blues festival.
Yeah.
And I was sharing a room with you. And a certain performer slept through their alarm in the morning because they had an early gig.
I had an 8 a.m. gig. What festival does that to a musician?
It's outrageous. I certainly wouldn't stand for it. Anyway, so I slept through the alarm and then the festival organisers ringing you and I was sound asleep as well because I didn't have to be up.
Yeah.
And I remember just this like panic.
It was
panic.
It was pure panic.
You were up and you were running around the apartment and you're on the phone and you're like, my van won't start. Sorry, I'm not there because the van won't start. And I was in bed and I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good one. So, and then I've jumped up because I'm like, yeah, okay. Well,
I vaguely recall just coming and saying, Jonno, help. Like, that's all I said. It was just, Jonno, help.
So I got up and I couldn't find my shoes. So you threw a pair of shoes at me.
This is right.
And then we went downstairs, all the way down to the basement where the van was, and then you hopped in, turned the key.
Surely enough, it wouldn't start.
It wouldn't start.
I wasn't lying.
So I started laughing. And you were like, what? I said, well, this is great. This is awesome. Your van won't start. I don't think you quite got it. But it's like, well, your van won't start. Now you're not lying. You're late to the gig because your van won't start.
And yeah, that was a big night. That was a massive night. Back when I used to love the odd massive night, and yeah, I remember like giving myself a curfew of like, right, you've got to be in bed by like 2:00 at the latest, and I was the last one up.
Yeah,
I was up at like 5:30 still, and yeah. And I just remember not feeling great the next day, especially to be woken up to the festival director asking me where the hell I was because my set was about to start. And I don't know where I pulled that out of my ass. Just my van won't start. I guess it was the most obvious. Like
that's it. And when the van eventually does rock up, they go, oh yeah, fair enough.
Of course, it makes sense. But I think as well there might have been some texter on my face for that gig.
Yes, there definitely was because
there might have been a texter mustache going on that might have given away that my van maybe wasn't all the problem that we had.
Because you set up and you started playing and I was like, oh, phew, this is great. I'm going to sit down and have a coffee. And I sat down with my coffee and then I looked up at you and you had a moustache drawn on your face. And I thought, oh no!
I think I seem to recall a lot of things got drawn the night before, in someone's hotel room in various places. That was a big one. I think we would agree that night goes down in history. Like that is.
It's probably one of the best festival weekends I've ever had. That's for sure. It was good.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. But that was like. Yourself, it was Tom Richardson, Daniel Champagne. Who else was there? I just remember there was a massive crew, ridiculous, huge crew of amazing friends. It was good.
Yeah, it's good times. That's the beautiful thing about festivals is because musicians, when you're touring, you don't see each other.
Totally.
And you come together at festivals.
Totally.
And that's it. And if you get that sweet, that sweet spot of where like all of your mates are.
Yeah.
And, you're not all shagged from being on the road for 6 months.
Yeah.
It can be a very good time.
Totally. I think, and we must have all been kind of mid-20s then as well, like the perfect age to just having fun with it non-stop, it was good. It was very good.
That was actually, that particular weekend I remember was awesome for me because I wasn't even playing at the festival. I was there because I was touring with Tom. Tom was playing at the festival and I was having a weekend off. So
that's right, yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah, I can still remember because I think my van must have just been like packed to the rafters or something because I can still remember a photo of you sitting on the passenger seat in
my legs
cross-legged or something like that. Because I think I was just like so jam-packed that there was something you couldn't put your feet down or something like that.
Yeah, I think there were like CDs down the front or something like that.
Who knows? But yeah. Man, the Kombi. I think we should like make mention of like, my first touring van, my first.
Let's do it because that was going to be my next question. If you were 21, 22 when you got the van, then that obviously wouldn't have been your first car. So
yeah, there was a VL Commodore Wagon that came before that.
Love it.
Yeah, it was red, and that thing cost me $600 from the wreckers.
Nice.
And once again, my wonderful brother helped line me up with that one. He was working next door at a mechanics, and I don't think I ever serviced it between the age of 18 and the Kombi van. So 3 or 4 years, like not one single service that I remember anyway. Maybe my brother serviced it for me once or twice. Because I definitely didn't have the money to get it serviced. I barely had the $600 to buy it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that thing, I had like a much more foldable mattress in there that we kind of fold up with the seats. And then I'd fold it over and my little PA system would go on the top of the mattress, fold it up. But I think it was towards the end of its lifetime, where I realised that maybe it was time to upgrade to something a little bit bigger. I remember doing a show and packed. This was back when I was just doing mainly shows around, just where I was living.
Yeah.
Local shows, and packed it up. And my friends used to, kind of come to the shows, and so I was living out near the Dandenongs in Melbourne, and we used to go up when I'd play in like the Basin or Ferntree Gully or something like that. Sometimes I'd finish the gig and then we'd go up to Sky High, which is this lookout that looks over all of Melbourne. It looks amazing at night, all lit up. We'd go up there. I'd take my guitar. We'd sit up there and kumbaya,
Yeah. Bit of Wonderwall.
Yeah, totally. And a couple of beers. And so, that was the plan this night, and packed it all up and, did the whole close the boot. Yes. Knock off time. Closed the boot and kind of turned around as I closed it. And then all I heard from the back of me was smash. And yeah, it turns out that the PA must have just been, an inch or two overpacked. Yeah. And obviously it was a corner of a speaker or something like that just went straight through the rear windscreen. And that was pretty much the end of that. Like, I didn't have money to replace
the back.
the window, so I think it just kind of, I can't even remember. I think I just sold it back to a wreckers for $100 or something like that. So yeah, the VL Wagon, that was like the first vehicle.
That's funny because that's my greatest fear every time I pack my car, because I had a station wagon, then I've had 2 hatchbacks.
Dangerous.
You have that angled window at the back, and
dangerous.
It's so easy to think, oh well, it's a hatchback, so it's flat, But
I had it with my hire car just today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like it's like one of those like small SUVs.
Yeah,
and I had the same situation today. Like I picked up a guitar amp earlier, and it was like just like shaking in my boots, thinking, oh crap, is that going to smash the back window?
Yeah. We'll be right back to our chat with Shaun Kirk, but in the meantime, Shaun, where can we find you on the internet and in real life?
Well, in real life, I'm currently at Jonno Zilber's house, but by the time you're listening to this, I could be anywhere.
Yes.
And on the World Wide Web, you can find me on all your favourite social media platforms, or you can head straight to my website, which is shaunkirk.com.
Well, let's talk about this then, hire cars.
Yeah.
So you've reached a point in your career where you're not really doing the tour van thing. You're not driving around in a van, sleeping in a van.
Time is just
most
so
of your
precious
gigs,
now.
You're flying.
Yeah.
And hiring cars when you get there. How did you make that transition? Was it over a period of time? Was it a couple of tours where you started doing it a little bit here and there? Or were you just like, no, this is what I've got to do?
Yeah, I think like most things in my career, it's just been a gradual build. And yeah, I think I kind of started mainly just like doing it, I'd still drive between Brisbane and Melbourne. But then if, to get to Adelaide or to Darwin or to Tassie and stuff like that, I'd get on a plane. And then eventually it just became, I've got so much on my plate that it's like, okay, well, it's actually just quicker, for me it might cost, a couple of $100 more, but it's quicker for me to get on a plane and I can still be productive whilst I'm on that plane. Kind of, you know, nowadays you can do emails from, you know, 38,000 feet. How high does you would know, how high do we sit? That's it's somewhere between 38 and 40, right?
Somewhere around there, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No.
My airplanes don't go that high.
Yeah. So yeah, it was more or less just a time thing, like a time management thing.
Yeah.
Like I love driving, like, but you know, nowadays when I'm doing it, when I've even just like a 4-hour drive or something which was like, that was like a blink of an eye for me back in the day.
Yeah.
Like 4 hours was like, yeah.
Yeah, you do that
Easy,
after a gig. That'd just be like you commute home.
Normal, so normal. And nowadays, like I just find myself, it's like crap. You know, I could be doing so much more like, with my time right now. Like, which is kind of good and kind of bad. Like,
yeah. Well, do you find that because you have less time to yourself and less time to sort of?
I've still got exactly the same time that I used to have. I should make that note. We've always got the same 24 hours in the day.
True.
I've just got more on my schedule.
Yeah.
I've still got exactly the same amount of time as I used to have.
But because you're not, when you're driving, you're forced to just do that.
Yeah.
And it's almost a meditative kind of thing.
It totally was, yeah. Still is, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely it was. It was scarily meditative at times, like where, like I don't know if that's meditating, that's kind of getting a bit lost in your own head, like where I'd like drive for hours and then just like go, holy crap, like I'm in Sydney already, like didn't even realise like, you'd be able to relate. So that's not really meditative, that's like kind of being unconscious, I guess. But I definitely just missed the freedom of that. Like I just remember there was this crazy, amazing freedom. Like, because when I was first starting out, I was still living with my folks and stuff as well at their house. And so I just remember like just that feeling of like, all right, the van's packed, I'm off. Like, see you later, like parents, for a couple of weeks. Like I just remember that first like drive down the road was always just like, you know, I'm free to do what I want. You know, like it just like the start of a movie. Like,
for sure.
Like with Credence playing in the background or something. Like, it's just so good. I miss that feeling.
I definitely. And then on the other side of that, I think I talked to Jimmy about this, is that there is no better sight at the end of a long tour than driving up your driveway and just going straight out the door, in the front door, down the hall, and then seeing your bed.
Yes.
It's the best thing you can ever see.
And when you're living with your folks, mums usually like change the linen for you. Like it's just fluffy and just ready to go, and that's
me for the next 14 hours.
Totally.
Good.
Yeah. No, I definitely miss all that. But that being said, oh man, I love the convenience of just jumping on a plane now, and like I said, being able to. Actually, it's at a funny point now where I kind of miss, like planes were almost like back before you could do Wi-Fi stuff on a plane. That was kind of like the only place I could really just like go, all right, well, I've just got to read a book or something like that. But now even that's gone. It's just like, I mean, I just, it's, you've just got to force yourself to that time now. So, yeah.
Well, it's an interesting sort of shift, I guess, in social culture and whatnot, because, you know, you think about rock bands in the old days touring in their tour bus, you know, like the classic idea of the tour bus that I've based this whole podcast on.
Yeah.
And it's all like parties and adventure and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But for the solo independent musician, there's so much other stuff that you've got to take care of that I think... you know, like when you're a young teenage kid playing guitar in your bedroom and you dream of like being a rock star. Yeah. You don't realize exactly how time consuming it is.
Yeah. Totally. Yes, especially as a self-managed artist, like, it was like, I'd drive for 2 hours, then pull over, do emails for 1 hour, drive for another 2 hours, pull over, do another bunch of emails for 1 hour, like that kind of thing. And then, drive for 2 hours, pull over, try to do some songwriting for 1 hour, drive for another 2. Like absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's good for people to see that who aren't involved in the music industry as well. Because sure enough, you're going to go and you're going to play in a pub tonight.
Yep.
And there's going to be the bloke who comes up to you afterwards and say, "Man, it must be awesome. You get to just drive around the country and play guitar." And it's like, well, there is that. It's cool.
Totally.
But
there's more to it. Yeah, absolutely. Like, but it's the same as like, I don't know what's like a similar scenario. Like it must. I think that it must be amazing for like school teachers to get holidays every quarter. Like,
that'd be a contentious issue.
But like, yeah, exactly. They would say, well, yeah, they're holidays, but I've got to work
I'm
the
working
whole time.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Like at the end of the day, like I think no matter what your lifestyle, you could be, the queen. I'm sure she's like, though she's got, probably people doing absolutely everything for her, I'm sure she feels like, holy crap, where's my time? Like, like it's just, I think we all kind of feel like that. Like, but maybe it's just the way that life is.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, with that in mind, let me ask you this. Is being a touring musician what you expected it to be when you started out?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, maybe I think I didn't in my earlier days. I think I really just didn't understand. Like, okay, like I think I just expected other people to just know. Like when I was getting managers or booking agents, stuff like that. All right, well, you're a manager and you're an agent, and so you should just know what gigs to book me, like kind of thing. Yeah. Like I didn't understand the concept of leadership. I think was a big thing for me when I was young, and that's something I'm really only just starting to learn about. And like I'm kind of, I went through this big like mental like depression kind of thing a few years back, and just learnt so much from it. And ever since, the last kind of 2 years has been like rebuild. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's so much more exciting for me now because it's like I just feel like I've got a better understanding of like, all right, well, sure, I'm getting these people on board, and just because it's that guy and he's done this for that person and that person, person doesn't mean he's right for me. Like just because he's got all these accolades, doesn't actually mean that that's going to work for me, Sure. And it's about like finding people who have similar values and stuff like that. And so I think that that part of the job I didn't really expect when I started out. I just thought, well, people will just, they'll come along and they'll just do everything for me, and I'll just play my music and it'll all just happen. Like, I think I was pretty ignorant in that regard.
Yeah.
Like, just like, it'll all just happen. It'll just happen. So, I think that's the biggest thing for me.
What about bringing people on the road with you? Because you've never toured with a band.
Nah.
But I know that you've toured with other musicians.
Yeah.
And also you have toured with...
I've always got a sound engineer with me, Yeah.
How does that change the way that you do things, having someone traveling with you?
Not a whole lot. I guess it's just like, just be considerate of, them when they need their space and stuff like that. And just because you feel like going and getting, I don't know, Vietnamese for dinner doesn't mean that that's what they want. And so just being considerate, it's just a consideration thing, I guess. And but that's about it. Like, I don't really find that it, changes anything for me. There's less thing. It's load ins and load outs are much easier.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
So you're not the kind of person that would prefer to be traveling by yourself or with other people. It just sort of.
I think I used to prefer traveling by myself. I was super introverted when I was younger, like super introverted. Like when I was first starting out, like playing at bars and stuff like that, I would like literally, like I'd go hang out and stuff at the bars, like whether I was playing or not. But I had my little corner, and I would walk into the bar, and I would sit in that corner, and I would look at my phone and just wait for someone to come to me.
Yeah.
Like, and the beauty was that because I was playing music, that would happen. Like people would come over and start a conversation, and but I was super defensive as well. Like so, if I was always looking for. I was just in the wrong mindset. I was just looking for the things that they were criticizing me on or something like that. Rather than they could be sitting there going, "Wow, that was an amazing show." I loved what you did here and here and here. But I'd hear them just go, "Oh, and the way that you played that chord wrong," like, and then me, just alarm bells. I was just in that headspace when I was younger. But I'm so free of all that now, like, and it's really nice. And so now, like, I kind of enjoy, like I said earlier, I'm really enjoying like building my team and surrounding myself with people who are really like-minded and that I just get along with really easily, and it's just a lot easier. It just seems a lot easier. Like, and I think from I hope this is how they feel. I hope they feel like I'm constantly. Well, I'm trying to constantly ask. What do you need from me? What do you need from me? Like always, just trying to reassure them. Like, what like you just tell me what I got to do for you. Like I'll do it for you, kind of thing. Like, because it's about making them as comfortable as possible, not them making me as comfortable as possible.
For sure.
So
a team rather than a staff.
Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a big difference between a boss and a leader.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, in a perfect world where you had $1 gazillion, and you could take
wouldn't necessarily be a perfect world. Just throwing that in there, just challenging you.
All right. In a perfect world where you also have $1 gazillion,
yeah,
and you can take your team on the road with you.
Yep.
Money, no object. What's your absolute dream tour bus?
Like I don't actually know the models or anything like that, but just like, just the ones that you see on the movies, you know, like, those big, what are they called again? Like the massive camper bus,
like the big
things,
RV type buses.
Yeah, one of them, I guess. Like, with actually, I played over in Canada earlier this year at this conference called the East Coast Music Awards, and I met this French band, and I can't remember the name of their band off the top of my head because it's in French, so it's kind of hard to remember. But and they had the classic. It was like they'd time warped from the 70s. They were all like in 70s get up, and they all had girlfriends hanging out like under their arms, like with flares on, and like they looked like something from a movie. Like they Almost Famous. Like they were the French version of Almost Famous.
Yeah,
it was hilarious, and they had the bus.
Yeah, and
I ended up in the bus. And
was the bus named Doris?
Possibly. Maybe in French, like Dory or something. And they were the coolest dudes ever, dudes and dudettes. And they were just, having a compression session in the bus, and the bus had to stay running in order for something to work. Oh, for the music to work or something like that. Like, so they were playing, friggin' Lynyrd Skynyrd, stuff like that. Like, it's just so classic. Like, it was literally like being time warped to the 70s. Like,
awesome.
So maybe their bus. Like their bus would be cool.
Yeah.
They'd just driven it all the way down from like Quebec all the way down to like Philadelphia or something like that, or maybe even further, Louisiana or something.
Yeah, right.
I think they'd done ridiculous amount of Ks in that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe their bus would be cool. That was a pretty cool bus.
Maybe you go back to Canada, maybe you do a tour with...
Yeah, that's it.
Insert French band name here.
Man, they were... Well, I could... If I had my phone on me right now, I've got them on Instagram and stuff. They were funny as...
What we'll do is we'll dub that in later.
Yeah.
I'll do my best Shaun Kirk impression.
I met this French band, like with like do it with a computerized voice. Like I met this friend, like when you call someone's voicemail, and it's like, anyway, so off topic.
Shaun, you mentioned Doris and you mentioned Almost Famous.
Oh, here we go.
That brings us to the lightning round.
All right. I've been waiting for this moment.
Are you impressed by my...
I am. The game show card.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's all very...
You've really gone all out, and it's
top-notch quality here at Zilber Productions. Okay, here we go. We're going to ask 5 would you rather questions.
Cool.
And rapid fire, but you can stop the clock at any time.
All right.
Here's the situation. You're on tour. Mm-hmm. You're on a highway in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Would you rather be a driver or passenger?
Passenger.
Stop the clock.
Yeah, stop the clock. I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It depends how good the driver is.
Mm.
It depends like how calm they are.
The driver is your sound guy who you tour with.
I'd rather drive.
Yeah, okay.
To throw another needle in the haystack, if that is the saying, it depends if we were on a flat road or a mountain road. If we're on a mountain road, definitely I'd prefer to drive. Yep. Tyler is, and I love you, buddy, but he is so tense when driving mountains. It's like, and the corners are all... Like I get sick, like if I'm a passenger with him driving mountains, because he is it's like 90-degree turns at all stages. So if we're on a mountain, I would prefer to be the driver. If we were on a flat, open road, Tyler could drive totally.
Oh, cool. Would you rather run out of fuel or get 3 flat tires?
3 flat tires, because I've got an RACV membership and I just call them every time. I've never changed
just call
a tire
them 3
in my
times.
Life. That's fine with me.
Would you rather pay $4 per litre for fuel or have to fill up every 100 kilometres?
Fill up every 100 Ks. That's a good, that's a solid hour. Like, I don't mind stopping quickly every hour and, taking a piss. And, yeah.
You'd be surprised how many musicians opt for the $4 per litre thing. That amazed me. Number 4.
Did most of those musicians have $4 per litre in their pocket? Like, that would amaze me.
That's what I'm saying. Money bags must be good to earn these days. I don't know. Anyway, would you rather have no windows or no heating and air conditioning? So you've smashed out all the other windows in your VL Commodore,
but you've got
heating and air conditioning.
Well, it wouldn't matter. The heating and air conditioning wouldn't matter if the windows are smashed. It's not going to do anything.
Well, you might need some heating. It might be cold.
But the windows are smashed.
All right. Would you rather no windows or no heating and air conditioning? Answer the question,
Is
Kirk.
that what the question was? Or was it? Yeah, right. No. So it was... I'm confusing myself here. Going a little delirious.
Would you rather?
Would I rather...
Have no windows.
No windows or... Okay.
No heating and air conditioning.
Sorry, I thought you said and rather than or.
No.
I would rather... but once... No, I'm not confusing myself. Repeat that question. Repeat it one last time, Mr. Silber.
Would you rather have no windows or no heating and air conditioning? So you have the windows, but no heating or air conditioning.
This is what I'm saying. If I had no windows, but I did have heating and air conditioning, it wouldn't do jack shit. There would still be a cold or warm breeze coming in. Are you getting me? Are you following me? I've got you here.
I think you've just fucked up 12 episodes of my podcast.
I've got ya.
All right, well, I got you. Number 5. Would you rather have the stereo stuck on a foreign language community radio station or an early mix of your first album?
Oh, definitely the foreign, whatever you just said. Definitely. Yeah, definitely do not want to listen to myself, especially a first early mix of my first record. Or yeah. Definitely the foreign language.
All right.
Foreign languages are good. They're good. They're interesting. I actually enjoy that. Like, I try and figure out what they're saying, or at least just make it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like people watching.
I guess.
If you go, like, have you ever sat at, like, you know, a train station or something and just imagine what people do? It is my favourite thing to do
in the world.
Yeah.
Sitting in an airport.
Yeah.
Watching people.
Yeah, and trying to figure out or imagine what they would do for a living, or what their current situation is, or
especially at airports. I love it at airports because
at school or something. Yeah.
The incredible broad range of society that you see in a very enclosed space.
Yeah, and there's no more stressful environment than an airport, and so that brings on all kinds of ridiculous behaviour.
That's it. It pushes every emotion to the absolute extreme.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
That's why I spend my life at airports.
There you go. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I do with foreign languages as well.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Shaun, thank you so much for hanging out this evening before your gig here in Brisbane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. And for everyone listening at home, thank you very much for listening to Doris, You Darling Bus, and we'll see you on the next one.
Oh, yeah. You better fix up that. I'm pretty proud of myself that I got that question, man. I got you there.
Nah. So no windows.
Or no heating and aircon.
Yeah.
So if there was no windows, your heating and aircon would be useless anyway.
All right, would someone please explain to Shaun that question is about the inconvenience of having all of your windows smashed out versus the inconvenience of not having any heating and air conditioning? Head to the Doris, You Darling Bus Facebook page and tell me what you think.